Hello, I'm Michael Redmond, professional Go player. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the pressing move at the 5-4 point after the opponent has played a one-space pincer. So this is pressing after the pincer is being played. In a previous video, I talked about this pressing move without any pincer at all. So I'll put a link to that video in the description of this video. So to start with, I'll show you the overall position that I'm thinking of when I show you this Joseki. I'm thinking of a board position something like this. So let's go through the opening moves. Black has played 2 3-4 points, and white has played a star point and a 3-4 point. So in a position like this, where white might have ideas of building on the left side of the board, naturally, white could have played a straightforward move such as this or this to start building on the left side. These are both moves that we do see a lot in modern games. But also, actually, a pincer here is another move that can be played a lot in modern Go also. And it's been around a long time also. So it's a very ancient move that is still alive in modern Go. So when white plays a pincer close to the black stone like this, white is basically threatening to enclose that black stone in a very tight formation. So if white plays at the mark point, that black stone will be confined to the corner. So white's putting a lot of pressure on that black stone directly, and in the process, white actually hopes to build on the left side. So building on the left side is very much an idea behind this close pincer. So for instance, if white had played a pincer further away, in one of these places for instance, this would be giving black a lot of freedom of where black wants to play. So black might play something on the left side of the board, black can press in this case also. Black might play to make a base on the lower side, or black could play away. Black has a lot of choices, but when white plays the low pincer, it's more likely that black will move out with this pincered stone. For instance, black could play here, and white's going to play the knight's move. You can see white's going to start building on the left side on the 4th line, potentially. So that's the idea behind white's move. And in modern Go, you quite often see black playing this pressing move. So that's the beginning of the Joseki that I'm going to be talking about today. So going back to the local position, when black presses here, I'm going to say that it's always the best move for white to push through and cut here. So actually, without the pincer, I showed you a variation like this, when white did not have this pincer stone on the 3rd line. So without this pincer, a sequence such as this one would have been very normal, and it would have been an even result. So this is the Joseki that I showed in my other video actually. And I showed you a sequence up to this point where black is building a wall there. And this would be equal depending on the overall board position, provided white doesn't have this stone here. And the problem for white is that this stone is way too close to black's wall there. So let's take a look at this back on the larger board, the full board position. If we have a situation like this, that white stone is going to be in trouble. For instance, if white pushes here, then black will pincer somewhere around here. And you can see that white stone is pretty much enclosed by a lot of black stones and black influence. So this is an example of how the pincer stone can get too close to a black wall. Going back a few moves, it might be wise for white to play some kind of extension, but you can see that white stone there is going to be captured in the ladder next, or black could just play a large move on the upper side. That would be a big move too, somewhere around here for instance. In either case, this stone here on the right next to the black wall, it's not in the most efficient place for white to have a stone on the board. So it was premature. Therefore, to justify the pincering stone, white really needs to push through. With this Joseki, I think there's a sequence of choices here that both players have, but in almost all of the cases, the the Joseki move that I show you is going to be clearly better than the alternative move. And I think the fact that this is relatively clear-cut will make the Joseki easier to understand than some other Josekis where it's a bit more ambiguous. So going back to the local position, when white pushes through and cuts, this is another position where black might be wondering whether it's correct to save these two stones or whether black should try to save this stone. And this is also a case where it's pretty clear-cut that it's not a good idea for black to try this to save this stone. If white extends here, now the Pincer stone is in the perfect place to enclose black, and it's going to be a difficult fight for black. So I'm not going to go into this variation very much. If black gets lucky, it could get complicated, and black will have some chances if white makes a mistake. But I'm not going to advise this for black. If you're a strong fighting player and you want to try it out, feel free to. And I wish you the best of luck, and you might need a bit. So, to go back to the recommended variation now, it's better for black to play an Atari here and the hanging connection. So what black did with this whole sequence is by pressing here with this stone and inviting white to push through and cut, black has created a good shape on the right side. So these three stones on the right here, the hanging connection, they form a good shape, all four of these stones, with a hanging connection which is leaning on the one white stone on the right. Now is a position where white might seem to have two choices, but the correct move is to protect on the left side. So this is one of the examples of how white can protect on the left side. I'll go into some other variations of how to capture that one black stone a bit later. First, I'll show you this variation, which is where white is trying to play on both sides of black. So white is trying to take the lower side and the left side. This is generally an overplay for white. So when white does this, black's going to push a few times on the fifth line, and then black can play here. And in most cases, this is going to be a collapse for white. So first of all, if white plays some move towards the corner, black will play towards the side. And you can see that black is going to control the fight in the center. White's corner can still be squeezed. And so it's a bit of a difficult fight for white. If white tries to attack the two black stones, it is going to be fairly difficult. So there's a number of variations here. The most direct white move would be to play here. This is the strongest local move. But in a position like this, where the ladder favors black, it's going to collapse pretty quickly. So an example of that would be for black to play the Hane on top here. And white's going to cut. And black can play an Atari underneath. It would be a bad idea for white to allow black to get a Poniki here. So it's sort of forced to extend, but then black can connect here. And black is threatening to capture three white stones in a ladder with a move here. So this would be a ladder. So if white plays here, that's a ladder. And if white plays on top, black will play a Hane on the second line. And when black has played an approach move towards white's corner, usually, quite often, let's just look at it with the whole board. Quite often it's a parallel opening like this, where black, in this case, has taken two corners in the upper side, and white has taken two corners on the lower side. And in that case, the ladder tends to favor black. So this is an example how white's in trouble there. And there are some slightly more complicated variations that don't even involve the ladder, and it's going to be good for black anyway. So I don't advise this variation for white. When black plays this move, it's almost always going to be difficult for white. So to go back to the correct variation, it's good for white to play the diagonal move here, and black will play the jump. And these both are the most modern way to finish the Joseki. So with the diagonal move, white also has the choice of, for instance, the old Joseki is to play here. This is another way to capture the one black stone. Basically, any form of a net will capture this black stone. Or even white could play just clasp a bit like this. This would be a bit inefficient towards the left side when black still has kind of a little attack here, where black would be threatening to slide in on the second line at this point. So this is slightly less efficient for white. Moves like this or this, some kind of a net to capture the black stone is perfectly normal. And this move on the fourth line is going to be slightly stronger towards the center. So that's why it's popular now. And also black's move, the old-fashioned Joseki that we had before had black playing here, which is a very tight, solid way to capture the one stone, so it's okay. But again, this move, it also accomplishes the idea of stopping white from attacking black with a move. If black plays away, for instance, if black plays away, white's going to play here next. And this would start attacking the black group. So black wants to stop white from doing that. So this is a move that will stop white doing that. You have this choice. So this final move can be played in one of these 2 points. Otherwise, black could play here. It doesn't really matter, provided black adds one stone to this group. And then white would probably play away. A move like this would be perfectly normal in this opening. Locally, curling around here is actually a fairly big move. So at some point, white might curl around if white seems to have some potential towards the left side of the board. So, for instance, in a position like this, where white is built towards the center, you can sometimes see white curling around here, which will control this area and start building a moyo on the left side, like this, so spreading out into the center, hopefully. So that was my basic Joseki variation for the pressing move on the 5-4 point with a white pincer. So just to go through all the moves once more. So let's get back to this smaller diagram. When white pincers on the third line here, it's quite common for black to press. And when black does that, the idea is that when white pushes through to cut, black will sacrifice the one stone to get a good position on the right side. And white finishes off the one black stone, and black will capture the white stone on the lower side. And this creates the Joseki shape. So thank you for watching to the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to sign up to my channel for more videos like this. So see you next time.